Chair recognizes gentleman from Texas, Mr. Gohmert, for 5 minutes.
Thank you. We appreciate so much your being here. It cannot be a pleasant experience going back and having to dredge up what was so horribly painful previously. And I've been a prosecutor in an early life and also a felony judge. And Lauren, Ms. Libby, and I'd read your statement. I'd read each of the statements, and I had to step out at a conflicting meeting with some other judges who are still judges about some victims' issues. But you had said in your statement, I was unable to seek justice through the criminal justice system, and this legislation had not been passed. Was that to do with the rape kit, or what prevented the prosecution?
So that's a great question. Thank you so much, member. It was a really difficult period for me to come forward and seek justice. After my first assault, which happened on a college campus, I met with my Title IX officer. And she said I could get a rape kit done and I could go through the process of bringing a case forward, but she advised me not to.
She advised you not to?
She said...
Did she give a reason?
Yeah, of course. She was worried it would be too painful for me. She realized that the process of getting a rape kit done, which can take up to 7 hours, only to have your rape kit destroyed after 6 months, is more traumatic, or what could be more traumatic.
Oh, the rape kits where you were being destroyed after 6 months at that point, is that right?
Yes, that's actually why Amanda founded RISE.
And that's what I understood about RISE. It's been extremely helpful in pushing legislation to make sure they're around.
Yeah, and I would absolutely be happy to defer this statement to Amanda, because this exact issue is why we even created these laws.
Yeah, and Ms. Wynn, you want to follow up on that? Obviously, this is something I'm a little surprised to hear. Was the rape counselor female, Ms. Libby?
She was. She was female, and she was doing this to look out for my own mental health and protection. And at the time,
Well, that is catch-22. I mean, to pursue justice, it is going to be painful. And then we have the constitutional right to confront our accusers, but then for somebody who's been through something just so horrifying that even the thought of it sends them into convulsions, makes it pretty tough. But Ms. Wynn, was this pretty common? Did you find this across the country that, first of all, rape kits were only being kept 6 months? How persuasive was the 6-month keeping of rape kits?
Well, thank you so much for your question, member. Yes, unfortunately, rape kits are being destroyed before they're tested, before the statute of limitations ends across the country. In fact, that's why we're fighting so hard for this now. The federal law impacts rape cases that are adjudicated in federal court, and most rape cases are adjudicated in state courts. In fact, New York State, as Lauren mentioned, is the worst in the country. It destroys rape kits in 30 days.
Wow.
Yes, in 30 days.
Yeah, I have it in my mind, you know, even if you don't find, I mean, in cases where the perpetrator is unknown, if you got a rape kit, I wouldn't mind seeing those kept beyond the statute of limitations, just because they may be found in some other case,
yes,
and then the DNA matches,
yes,
and then you could use that prior rape to help prove the one that wasn't beyond the, so I'm
exactly.
even a little concerned about just getting rid of them at the end of the limitations period. Those could be immensely helpful, it
yes.
would seem.
Yeah, that would be the ideal. And to harken back to your point earlier, there are so many survivors across the country that are afraid of going through the criminal justice system because they feel that they could be re-victimized going through it again. I remember when I first sought legal counsel, the woman on the phone told me something similar. She said, look, you have every right to go through this justice system, but I just want to tell you, it's going to be really hard, and I don't know if it's worth it. The system is set up as a Kafkaesque labyrinth, and I understood that firsthand when I discovered that Massachusetts, where my rape was, would destroy my kid in 6 months. Now that's not the case, because our law has passed there in Massachusetts.
Well, my time is up, but, and Ms. Wood, Ms. O'Connor, I didn't get a chance to speak to you, but let me just thank each of you. And I understand Ms. Wood, Ms. Wynn, Ms. Libby, I can't fully appreciate what you've been through. And I noted, one commented in a statement that, it was tough. I blame myself. I just want to take a point of personal privilege to say to you what I used to say to victims after the trial was over. You understand that nothing that happened was your fault, right? You understand that. This was not your fault. You were a victim, and any idea that, gee, I may have deserved it, I may have gotten what I deserved, I was asking for it, that is BS. That should have no application ever again in your lives. And I appreciate what you're doing, because what you're doing will help us stop other victims down the road. So thank you. I applaud your courage in coming forward. Thank you.
Thank the gentleman from Texas. You do.